So you may in your chart have a dichotomy in the sense that your chart doesn't very readily reflect your essence except for in those four components, which are also in the chart. But other things in your chart may indicate modes that are counter to your predominant mode. It gives you a perspective to see things.
Okay. I'd like to talk a bit about your, you called your book Core Sidereal Astrology. What does the core stand for?
CORE is an acronym. It means cybernetic, occult, rejuvenation, and enlightenment. This is what I'm stressing in my astrological texts. My astrological text is not to emphasize just mundane particulars and details for mundane enjoyment. I'm emphasizing a cybernetic path, which is occult, meaning that it's a subtle, hidden path to reach the stage, ultimately, of rejuvenation. In Sanskrit, the stage of rejuvenation is called Brahmabhuta. But there's many rejuvenations, M-I-N-I, many rejuvenations previous to Brahmabhuta. And in full enlightenment is realization of Paramatma and realization of Bhagavan. So I am saying that this literature is to help you make spiritual advancement. And in the process, material advancement and material well-being automatically follows spiritual well-being. So I'm helping you in both areas, and not all literatures do that.
So would you say your literature is more tuned for the spiritually inquisitive?
It's more in tune for transcendentalists and occultists, devoted occultists, jnanis who are heavy into knowledge but are not atheistic. It's not for the run-of-the-mill Joe Schmo six-pack. And of course, he's not going to be usually attracted to astrology on any level very much. And when he's attracted, he'll be attracted to astrology that is so warped that for all practical purposes, it's a delusion from A to Z.
Now, in your book, you do talk about tropical and sidereal. First of all, could you explain what's the difference between tropical and sidereal?
Tropical astrology is based on the tropical year. Just like we're here, October 20th, October 19th area of the year. The sun is up there in the sky. For us, it's a little low trajectory now because it's moving on a southern course. And it will eventually reach what's called the Tropic of Cancer. Tropical. The Tropic of Cancer will be as far south as it will go. Then it will slowly start working its way back up north till it reaches a certain point. This is called the tropical calendar of the year because we use a solar calendar. Today, October 19th. On October 19th next year, if I'm sitting here on the porch and I look at this time of day, and the sun will be right where it is right now, but if I'm sitting at this time of day and it's June 24th and I'm sitting on the porch, the sun will be significantly higher, and it will also not be so far down towards the horizon because it has a much longer way to go before it's going to reach sunset. So I'm describing now what is a tropical year. A tropical year is based on the sun returning to the exact point, and you can pick any point, but obviously the point that's usually chosen is called the vernal equinox. Vernal equinox means where the day and the night are of equal length. In March, it takes place in March, usually March 22nd, sometimes March 21st, the vernal equinox. But you could pick any day. But we'll go with March 22nd. So on March 22nd, that's what the tropical astrologers say is when the sun then starts its new year, and they say that the sun's course through the sky determines the zodiac. So they say that's the point of 0 degrees Aries, where Aries begins, is at the vernal equinox. Now, a siderealist says no. A siderealist says that the sun's course through the tropical year or the calendar year does not determine where the signs are. The signs are the stars, Rashi, cluster of stars. And these constellations that are in the sky comprising the clusters of stars are the fixed zodiac. Fixed. They're fixed in the sky. Now, this time, say next year, October 19th at this time, the sun is at a certain point right now. The sun is in Libra. So it's conjunct certain stars in early Libra. It's been in Libra for approximately 6 days. So it's in the early part of Libra sign. Now, next year at this time, it'll be almost exactly at the same star where it is now, but not quite at that same star. There's a minor difference. In other words, for the sun to go through the whole zodiac takes a little bit longer than for it to go to its point of equinox again, if you choose equinox, or you could choose solstice, whatever point you choose. And that little bit extra length of time is because that's what it takes to go through all the zodiac of the fixed stars. And that difference between the two is what creates the year, every year, approximately 54 seconds, the sidereal arc of what's called Ayanamsha.
So so in your opinion, that invalidates tropical astrological calculations and predictions, and
it invalidates placements. In astrology, you place the planets according to the star, according to the sign that it's in, based on the stars, the fixed zodiac. So, 1/4 of the time, approximately, by chance, we'll just take sun, we could take moon, we could take any of the planets, but the sun will be in the same sign that a tropical astrologer would say and a sidereal astrologer would say that's in the same sign, but nowhere near the same part of the sign. But 3/4 of the time, they won't even agree on the sign that it's in. So it invalidates the placements. Now, it doesn't invalidate the angles, because the angles are going to stay the same whether you say right now. Of course, actually, right now, a tropical astrologer would say that the sun is at the tail end of Libra, and a sidereal astrologer would say that the sun is in the beginning part of Libra. But they'd both agree right now that it's still in Libra. But as of tomorrow, the tropical astrologer is going to say that the sun has just entered Scorpio, when it hasn't. However, the sun has a relationship in an angle to various planets that are in others. For example, Jupiter's in Sagittarius, sun is in the beginning part of Libra, so it's basically 2 signs away from Jupiter. The angle isn't going to change, but where the placement is being alleged by tropical, the angle stays the same. All the relationships of the planets stays the same. So when predictions are made based on transits of planets and based on angles, conjunctions, and oppositions, you may get some accuracy in tropical astrology from that, and you probably do. A very astute astrologer can probably get that. But you can't get it from the placements, so therefore it's not a holistic system that's completely accurate. There's falsity on a very big level there.
So how much is sidereal astrology used in the West?
Only by siderealists. In other words, when you look in a newspaper and they say, if you're a Capricorn, they're referring to where one planet of 9 was at the time of your birth. And, as I say, 3/4 of the time, the sign that they say it's in, that it was in, is not the sign it was in. It was in the sign previous to that 3/4 of the time. So they're only referring to the sun, because it's a solar calendar, and they're giving you a date. If you on this date,